This is an unboxing video for Doug TenNapel's enormously crowdfunded graphic novel, Earthworm Jim, Launch the Cow. Now, before we get into the actual unboxing, just kidding, you came here for the unboxing, so we're going to get straight into the unboxing. First of all, look at that box as a box, as just a thing for the thing to come in. Like, Princess What's-Her-Name, there's Jim, there's Peter Puppy hulking out. This is like 7 pounds of stuff. And the thing is, this crazy Indiegogo campaign just kept having new benefits, I forget what the name is, but new tiers, or like Doug just kept having to come up with new stuff to add because people kept funding it. This thing, if you're hearing about it for the first, if you're hearing about it for the first time, this thing went like well past $800,000 for like the first graphic novel to be made of the just smash hit video game. Still my favorite side scroller from the 90s. Let's see what all the goodies and extras are. Goodie checklist. 1 fold-out poster. 1 Bigfoot Bill 2 comic book. 2 blue packs of trading cards. 1 red foil pack of trading cards. 1 Blockheads EWJ Papercraft, and 1 EWJ Groovy Cloth Patch. If anything in your order is missing or damaged, send us an email with your Indiegogo username. We aim to make it right. Yeah, and it was crazy watching this campaign as it was going, because just the things that were adding straight along until it sounded like an insane print job to have the graphic novel printed. But then also just to see even the making of book. And I did the superfan tier, so I'm getting the graphic novel and also the making of book. So we'll take a bit of a look at both of those. First thing, oh my, here's this is bigger than I thought it was going to be. The poster. So that's like 1 panel of it. My only misgiving about posters is like when they have to fold them to ship them. When you have something this big, it's like, kind of makes sense that they fold them. I just wish that it didn't look folded. Whoa. Okay, so this is me standing up. Look at the size of this thing. That's awesome. I've got to find a gentle way to iron out the folds in this. And then it's a double-sided poster, so you get bored of it month to month, you can switch it up. Look at that. Those of you who actually played that will remember this screen as is when the cow goes, "Well done," between levels. That's terrific. I saw pictures of some of these things as they were developing the all the goodies and the extras and stuff, but it's definitely different to see it in person. Wow. This is the Blockheads thing, which is one of the later things that they added to the... So you cut that out and put it all together, and you have like this, 3D Earthworm Jim. Look at this image. That's pretty epic. There's more. Of course there's more. It's one of Jim. Whoa. I will say, this is like the coolest thing that I've ever personally backed. And there's Jim with snot. This is bringing back memories. Honestly, like, 'cause I was a fan of Zelda for sure, Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario World, definitely. I wouldn't want to downplay any of those, but when this came out, and like Vector Man 2 was a I love that one too. But when this came out, like, it was on another level from what I had seen as a creative vision executed in a side scroller. I had like there's the Bigfoot Bill comic. I'm gonna just go through this one quickly to show you a couple of frames. Since Jim is the main event, I'm gonna get back to Jim. But I'm gonna check that out. More of the little goodies. This is my groovy patch, which I can put on my bag, take to work. I've got my trading card packs. Yeah, stretch goals, that's what they're called. Because they just kept having to add stretch goals. Let's get right into it. Whoa. Oh my. What? Back cover. I don't know how well you can see. Hopefully you can see okay in this light. The red foil that's on the edges there. Front cover. Earthworm Jim. Launch the Cow by Doug TenNapel. I would love to hear more than I've heard so far. You know, I've been watching some of the videos that Doug has been posting straight along through this. I'd love to hear more about how long he's been waiting to do this. Oh, and then check the gold edges on this. I don't know how well you can see with but they glossed up Jim on the yeah, you can kind of see that because that's glimmering, the rest of it's not. The glossed up Jim on the back, and let's take a look inside, just inside the front cover. Dang, this is really amazing the way they put this together. Little signature there. This is a cutout where Jim's self-portrait. No Rockwell, but we'll give him an A for effort. And then that's the kind of self-aware page. And of course, I'm not going to take you through every page of this. That would kind of weaken the experience. But welcome to the Earthworm Jim saga. I've been ruminating about this story for over 27 years, so it's a relief to finally be able to put it to paper. I don't know if I could say that it was written in blood, but I could say that it was written in mirth. So it does give a bit of a lead into everything that led up to this, which certainly, given that this is one page, I'm sure this is grossly abbreviated from all the experience and all the anticipation of expanding the world and showing us more than we got to see in just about a dozen levels in the first game. This was a game where like I wasn't a huge fan of the Earthworm Jim 3D at the 64, but the sequel, Earthworm Jim 2, was like a pretty proper sequel. Like, basically I'm saying if you've heard stories about this game but haven't actually played it, check out the first one, definitely check out the second one too. They were legendary. I know of nothing else that really was on that level. Let's see what else I can show you. After we get past the opening credits, here's here's like sort of a galactic image. You see an earthworm there. I'm gonna really just be focusing on some cool visuals here because, again, it's not like I'm gonna read the book on this video, and I wouldn't want to give too much away. If you get a chance to hold this in your hands, you're gonna want to experience it face to face. Oh my. And really, like, when we were playing the game, we just kind of, you just kind of know that you're chasing Psycho through space, and if you don't go faster than him through anti-asteroids, then you're going to have to fight him. You don't really know the relationships of the characters through. You can at least get a glimpse of that while I'm looking for pages to show you properly. So we'll actually have a sense of where Snot came from, and what the relationship was, how much these characters actually interacted with each other. It looks like Princess What's-Her-Name was more involved in this straight along than I knew to expect. There's kind of an action sequence with her. Definitely getting a sense of place here. And here's where the super suit is first sent to Earth. I'm getting like a Galadriel vibe off of this girl right here. And here's where Earthworm Jim kind of becomes the unwitting hero that we come to know him as. I don't want to show you too much more. Again, I think a lot of this experience could be spoiled if you see too much of it just on the YouTube screen. But let's see what Peter Puppy looks like. I've always admired Doug TenNapel's cartooning style. I mean, for a lot of reasons, it's pretty distinctive, but also like there's like this wild freedom in his line work, which you see, like, of course, in Bill Watterson's material too. There's like this sort of craziness to it. Impressionism might be the wrong word to reach for to describe this style, but it almost feels that way because it's like just the animated quality and the living quality of it. You feel like you're looking at a moment instead of like something chiseled to a sort of perfection. You're looking at something that you get the idea that it was in motion when somebody took the picture. It's almost like not almost like a blur, but almost like it should blur. I'm trying to find Peter Puppy for you. That's a cool one. It's just one of Jim, presumably inside. Is he inside the suit? Looking inside his own suit. Oh, he plants one. He plants one right on Princess What's-Her-Name's lips. Do not remember ever seeing that done in the video game. That's pretty cool. So this may be the first time Peter hulks out. And of course, I'm not really reading this right now, I'm just looking at it, so I'm wondering if it's based on what he exactly ate. Oh, so, yep. That's this enormous puppy with rage issues. It's just too much emotion to be in such a small frame. All right. We'll take a little look at the Making of book. And let me just grab like 1 or 2 more pages to show you. That's a cool looking explosion. That's pretty nice. I get the sense that Jim thinks that he and the princess are together. Oh, that's an interesting look. Oh, so is this the origin story of Psychro as well? It might be, but you'll have to read it to find out. All right, that's another cool one of Peter. It's really vivid imagination here. Let's take a look at the Making of Earthworm Jim, which honestly, I like the cover of this one even more than the cover of the graphic novel. It's just really crisp looking. With the image like here. Pretty sweet. And this was the one, I saw this in one of Doug's videos when he was in the print shop. This one's got the silver edges, which is pretty great in its own right. And I think that was a good move because I think that looks good with the kind of the blue look. The Making of Doug TenNapel's Earthworm Jim, Launch the Cow, by Mark Lorenzen and Doug TenNapel. I don't remember ever hearing the whole story, but I do remember Lorenzen's Soil, I think, or maybe it was called Lorenzen's Oil. I think it was Lorenzen's Soil because it's the level in the second game where you're like burrowing through dirt. Or shooting through dirt? I think it was shooting through dirt. That's a cool picture. It's funny that it was like, it wasn't really, it's not like playing a Ren and Stimpy game. It wasn't exactly gross out humor. It didn't feel super gross, even though you were literally flinging snot to get yourself from one side of the screen to the other in some cases. Maybe it's because I'm just a dude. But I didn't really think it was a gross out kind of a game. I just thought it was a really artsy game. I'm gonna probably gloss through this one a little more quickly than the other one because, of course, a lot of it is like making of stuff, but if we run into anything, there's some sketches, that's cool. And I believe Doug has done a sketchbook before with a previous crowdfunded project. Not one that I was a part of, but I believe my friend Jason has one of those. He's gonna be excited to see this as well. Oh, Newts. I left off with Newts. I remember when Newts was just starting as an internet-based comic, and then like I forgot about it for a couple years. Then I moved. Then I went to whatever the local library was where I was living, and I saw like 2 or 3 volumes of it on the shelf. I was like, I guess this took off. Cast of characters. Yeah, so we're finding out more. This is going to be awesome to actually read through because we're going to find out more of like the, could we say, expanded universe, finding out more about like, not just in the narrative, but finding out about like the origin story of each of the characters. Number 4. I can't remember if number 4 was part of the 4th level. I almost want to say he was, because I remember level 5 was just called level 5. I don't know if number 4 was called that because he was in level 4. Although I kind of feel like he came a little sooner than level 4. Can't remember. Tells you I'm overdue to play the game through again. Psychro is so... I mean, who does that? Who draws... Look at his mouth. It's like this crazy Jack Skellington face. Princess what's her name? Oh. What's her name's strength and ability are a parable for the strong women in my life, like Angie and my mom. Often in fairy tales, the story was told of how powerful meekness is. C.S. Lewis warned that modernity would ruin the fairy tale, that only facts would be seen and nothing underneath it. People don't dig deep enough anymore to see what the traits of a character, meekness, strength, vanity, cunning, are pointing to in the story. Irony, humor, and generalities are lost on them. This will be interesting to read more about. Peter Puppy. Oh, so Farmer Jim. So the farmer's name is actually Jim. I'm guessing there's more connections here than I knew to expect. Queen Slug for a butt. There she is. Evil the cat. If any of y'all look at my Instagram, my art page on Instagram, I have done my own rendition of Evil the cat. He's always been one of my favorite villains, and definitely one of my favorite, visually favorite villains. That's on Jeremy Loomis art if you want to see my version of it. It was fun to do. The early comic book. Doug says, there wasn't any room for backstory on the Earthworm Jim cartridge back in 1994. 1994. I was like 11 years old. So I made a comic where Snot was stealing the supersuit. My drawing has come a long way since then, but there is something charming about these images I did with ink and Prismacolor markers. Well, then let's take a look. And you just get a peek. Yeah, I would agree. That's got its own charm. It's its own thing. Section 2, games that don't stink. So it looks like in here we get to hear a good bit from the different team members. Obviously we know Doug because he's the cartoonist that created Earthworm Jim, but it'd be cool to hear because there's so many unsung heroes in anything artistic. There's, you know, how many shows do you love watching but you can't name any of the writers? I mean, it'll be cool to hear more about the team that was responsible for making this happen and making it all that it was. Steve Crow. Steve Crow. So one of the guys was named Crow. Now I have to wonder how much, like, did that necessitate there being a crow that was a significant character? Looked like he was involved in the Neverhood as well. That's interesting. Don't know how to pronounce your name, Eric. Well, yeah. Mike Kelsch. I'm gonna hope his name is pronounced Kelsch. Illustrates the Making of Earthworm Jim cover, 2019. It says, it all started from this concept sketch. I love seeing stuff like that. I love seeing the early version of a thing. The seed of an idea. In fact, I think for myself, I've been a little too eager to share the seed of an idea before it's developed enough for other people to care about it or catch the vision. But enough about me. It took a team to make Earthworm Jim. Yep, as I said, that's a big part of why I'm going to be interested to sink my teeth into this making of book. Okay, and here's some of the, there's a study on the physicality of Earthworm Jim and his range of motion with his expressions. Oh, I'm so happy that I have this. And the timing was great. I didn't think I'd get to see this before the new year because this came in, I got home from work today and saw this on my step. And literally, I'm getting up early tomorrow morning to head north for the holidays. So this is a very happy surprise. Oh, and we have some, it looks like we even have some pages that get into the guts of the technical stuff for the video game. So the campaign, yeah, here's everywhere that you see the yellow spot where it says fact, that's a stretch goal. Check out all the stretch goals. You have to stretch to see all the stretch goals. Look at the time. I'm gonna have to cut this video at half an hour. Didn't realize I've been talking that long. Oh, it talks a little bit about Angie on one of those pages. Pencils. So I hope that means that I'll talk a little bit about what medium or combination of media used for some of the art here. Honestly, that was the only thing that was sad about the original game. It was like 16-bit. It was like, wow, you can tell the detail of so much of this art would be so great to see on something higher res than the Super Nintendo or Genesis were capable of at the time. Oh, I should have led with this. Check out these visuals. It's just a calendar for making the graphic novel. Catherine Garner, colorist. Been aware of her for quite some time. She's been, I believe she was the colorist for Newt's. Well, it says she's worked on Doug's books, including Gear, Tommysaurus Rex, the Newt's trilogy, Ghostopolis, and now Earthworm Jim. Yeah, follow her on Twitter. The best way an artist can love an audience is to open his heart and let the ink bleed out. That's how we got Earthworm Jim. So cool. Doug, if you see this video, you've done such a fine job. Thanks for keeping this thing alive for such a long time. I'm glad Earthworm Jim stayed in your heart. I'm gonna finish by taking a quick look at these, if I can open them. These are well sealed. Yes, I'm gonna take a quick look at these cards. Let's see, the red one, the foil, the tattoo foil and lenticular. Whoa. Oh, yes. Oh, very nice, very nice.